Have you ever caught yourself wondering if things are changing down there as you get older? Maybe you're sitting alone with a cup of tea, the house is quiet, the kids are grown, and you start to notice how your body reacts differently than it used to. The urges are still there, but they come with new questions. Is this still healthy? Is something wrong with me for wanting this? Or should I just stop? Let me tell you something right now. If you're over 60 and still feeling the desire to masturbate, you're far from alone and you're normal. The desire for pleasure doesn't disappear with age. It evolves. And that's what makes this conversation so important. Too often, we think of sexuality as something that ends when we get older. But the truth is, your body, your needs, and your experiences continue to grow, even as the number on your birthday cake goes up. The issue is that society tends to avoid discussing it. People pretend it's something to be ashamed of, or worse, they act like it's a joke. But here's the thing, ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Brushing it under the rug only leads to confusion, frustration, and unnecessary shame. So today, we're diving into something that's often left unspoken but deeply affects many people in their later years: masturbation in old age. What happens when you do it after 60, 70, or even 80? Is it healthy? Could it be harmful? And what changes should you be aware of? This isn't about shock value or embarrassment. This is about helping you understand your body better, feel more confident in your choices, and live a fuller, more honest life, because pleasure and self-connection don't have an expiration date. Let's start with something basic but powerful. Your body is still capable of feeling pleasure. That alone is worth celebrating as any of the aging pros change. One of the first things many older adults notice is that arousal takes longer to appear. You might need more time, more imagination, or even a little extra help from a favorite memory or a stimulating video. And that's okay. It's not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that your body is adapting. Just like we stretch a little more before a walk or warm up before lifting a bag of groceries, your body needs more gentle encouragement when it comes to intimacy. Another thing that often changes is lubrication. For women, especially, natural moisture levels decrease with age due to hormonal shifts, particularly after menopause. This doesn't mean you should stop enjoying yourself, it just means you might need a little help in the form of lubricants. And there's absolutely nothing shameful about that. Many women report even more satisfying self-pleasure in their 60s and 70s than they did in their 20s, simply because they now understand what feels good and have learned to listen to their bodies without the pressure of performance. Men may notice softer or slower erections and orgasms that don't feel as intense as they once did. Again, it's normal. Your blood flow, hormones, and muscle strength all shift with age. But what doesn't go away is your capacity to enjoy. Many older men say that their experience becomes more about emotional release, stress relief, and connection with themselves rather than just a quick physical act. And that deeper meaning makes it all the more valuable. Here's something else most people don't talk about: masturbation can be incredibly healthy for you, physically and mentally. Regular self-pleasure can improve blood circulation, which helps maintain a strong pelvic floor. It also supports prostate health in men and can even reduce urinary tract infections in women. Additionally, it helps release tension, improves sleep, and increases the natural feel-good chemicals in your brain, such as dopamine and oxytocin. Some people worry that they're doing it too much or that they'll become addicted. But the truth is, the real issue is not how often, it's how you feel about it. If masturbation is bringing you joy, comfort, or relaxation, and it doesn't interfere with your daily life or relationships, it's likely doing more good than harm. However, suppose you're feeling guilt or anxiety or finding that it's your only coping method for loneliness or depression. In that case, it may be time to explore other sources of emotional support as well. Masturbation can be a wonderful part of your toolkit, but it shouldn't be the whole toolbox. And let's talk for a moment about the emotional side of things. One of the biggest lies we're told as we age is that wanting pleasure somehow makes us dirty or immature. That couldn't be further from the truth. Intimacy, whether with a partner or with yourself, is one of the most basic human needs. It's not about lust or indulgence. It's about connection, release, and knowing that your body still belongs to you. When you take time for yourself in this way, you're not just chasing a fleeting feeling. You're reminding yourself that you are still alive, still deserving, still whole. It can feel awkward at first, especially if you've spent years thinking it was something you shouldn't talk about. But just because the conversation has been quiet doesn't mean you should stay silent. The more you understand what your body is doing and why, the more empowered you become to take care of yourself, inside and out. You may find that, over time, your relationship with self-pleasure becomes more peaceful and grounded. Instead of rushing through it or hiding it, you can slow down, appreciate your body for what it is, and embrace the experience with gratitude rather than guilt. And if you're someone who has never really explored this side of yourself before, it's never too late to start. There's no age limit on discovering what makes you feel good. You don't need permission, and you don't need to explain it to anyone. This is your journey, and it's one worth taking. Now that we've begun unpacking some of these ideas and changes, there's still more to explore. Because while the physical aspects are important, there are also emotional and social layers to this topic that many people struggle with in silence. One thing we don't always talk about, but probably should, is the loneliness that often sneaks in as we age. You may find yourself sitting in a familiar room that once felt full of life, children playing, a partner's voice nearby, laughter echoing off the walls, and now it's just quiet. That quiet can be peaceful, but sometimes it feels heavy. And in those quiet moments, your body may still whisper for connection. It might be a longing not just for touch but for being seen, felt, and alive again. That's where masturbation becomes more than just a physical act. It can be a gentle reminder that you still matter. That your body is still worthy of kindness, exploration, and comfort. It can be a form of emotional nourishment, a way to soothe yourself and feel present in your skin. And in truth, that's something many of us crave, especially when the rest of the world seems to move on without us. But what about the guilt? That quiet voice that says, "I'm too old for this," or "Should I still be doing this at my age?" It's understandable. Many of us were raised in a time when sexuality, especially self-pleasure, was something we didn't talk about. For some, it was tied to shame or secrecy. But guilt has a way of lingering, even long after the reasons for it have faded. Let me say this clearly, you have nothing to be ashamed of. There is no age limit on self-care, and there is no expiration date on pleasure. Masturbation is not only natural, it's a part of human experience that can adapt and evolve with you throughout your life. You're not doing anything wrong by listening to your body. You're doing something brave. You're honoring yourself. And let's not forget that everyone is different. Some people may feel the desire often. Others only once in a while. Some might not feel much at all anymore. That's okay, too. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to intimacy. It's about listening to yourself and making space for what you truly need. And that need might not always be physical, it might be emotional, spiritual, or simply a way to feel alive on a quiet afternoon. Still, many people wonder if their habits are too much or too little. They look for rules or numbers, hoping to find reassurance. But here's the truth, there are no rules. What matters is that you feel in control and comfortable with your choices. If you find yourself using masturbation to escape painful emotions constantly, it may be worth exploring those feelings with someone you trust or even talking to a therapist. Not because it's wrong, but because you deserve support in every part of your emotional life, not just the visible ones. On the flip side, if you've denied yourself that kind of pleasure for years because of fear or shame, now might be the time to reclaim it. There's a quiet strength in rediscovering your own body, learning what brings you joy, what makes you feel good, and what helps you reconnect with yourself. Now, some folks worry that masturbation might interfere with partnered intimacy. Maybe you're in a relationship, and you're not sure how your partner would feel. Or perhaps you feel guilty enjoying something alone, even when you love your partner. But here's the thing, self-pleasure doesn't take away from your connection with others, it often enhances it. It helps you stay in tune with your body, understand what you like, and carry that awareness into your shared intimacy. And if you don't have a partner anymore, whether through loss, divorce, or choice, masturbation can be a comforting way to maintain a relationship with yourself. It's not a replacement for human connection, but it's a reminder that you still have access to joy, peace, and a sense of being grounded in your own body. You might also notice that your fantasies shift as you get older. That's normal, too. Some people find themselves drawn to memories from long ago, such as young love, a special night, or even old movies that once stirred something within them. Others find comfort in new kinds of fantasies that focus more on emotion and closeness than just physical pleasure. This evolution in desire is a reflection of your life experience. Your mind and body are speaking the same language, just in a new dialect. And what about health concerns? It's fair to wonder. Can masturbation raise blood pressure? Could it affect your heart? The research here is quite reassuring. For most healthy older adults, masturbation poses no risk to their heart or general health because it promotes relaxation and releases feel-good hormones like oxytocin and dopamine. It can help lower stress and support heart health over time. That said, if you have a serious medical condition or specific concerns, it's always wise to check in with your doctor, not because pleasure is dangerous, but because your peace of mind matters. It's also worth mentioning that the body isn't as resilient as it once was. If you're using toys or devices, ensure they're safe, clean, and suitable for your needs. Read instructions carefully, use proper lubrication, and always listen to your body. If something hurts or doesn't feel right, stop. Pleasure should never come with pain or discomfort. You might be surprised to learn that many doctors and therapists now encourage older adults to maintain some form of sexual activity, whether with a partner or alone. Why? Because it keeps you connected to your body, improves circulation, boosts mood, and reduces anxiety. It's not just about sex, it's about wellness. Still, we live in a world that often tells older people to act their age. But what does that mean? If aging is about slowing down, becoming wiser, and enjoying the simple things, then what could be more fitting than honoring your body and its needs in quiet moments? There is strength in vulnerability, dignity in pleasure, and confidence in knowing who you are and what brings you peace. So the next time you feel that spark of desire, don't brush it off or hide it away. Listen. That spark is not a mistake. It's a sign of life. A reminder that your body is still your home and that home deserves to be lived in with warmth, care, and maybe even a little excitement now and then. There's something deeply empowering about coming home to yourself. For many people over 60, especially those navigating loss, retirement, or simply changes in routine, that feeling of self-connection can be a lifeline. You've spent decades caring for others, raising families, building careers, making sacrifices. Now, perhaps for the first time in years, you have the space to ask yourself, what do I need? That question might feel unfamiliar at first. But it's an important one. Because taking time for your pleasure, even in a simple moment of self-touch, isn't selfish. It's self-love. It's a way to honor the life you've lived and the body that's carried you through it. And when you begin to see it through that lens, guilt starts to dissolve. In its place, something softer begins to grow, something like acceptance. Of course, not everyone finds it easy to explore this part of themselves. Physical challenges, such as arthritis, back pain, or limited mobility, can make it more challenging to engage in intimate touch. But there are ways to adapt. Using pillows for support, exploring different positions, or choosing tools designed with seniors in mind can all help. This isn't about performance. It's about comfort. It's about pleasure that fits your life and your body as it is, not as it once was. And yes, there may be moments of frustration. Moments when you miss how things used to be. When you feel a little slower or less responsive than you'd like, but those moments don't mean the experience isn't worth having. They're often reminders of how tender and human you still are. And that tenderness deserves to be held with compassion, not criticism. Now, let's take a moment to discuss something that many people avoid, the emotional healing that can occur through self-pleasure. For many older adults, especially those who've lost a partner, touching yourself can bring up a wave of memories. It might feel like a betrayal at first, as if you're doing something wrong by feeling pleasure again. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Your desire doesn't dishonor the past. It honors your aliveness now. Grief and pleasure can live in the same room. They're both expressions of love, of connection, of what it means to be human. And allowing yourself to feel both, without judgment, is one of the most courageous things you can do. You may also find that as you age, the way you approach pleasure shifts. Maybe it's less about intensity and more about intimacy, less urgency, more presence. You start to appreciate the warm-up, the anticipation, the gentleness, the slow build-up. It becomes a ritual, almost like a form of meditation. And in those quiet moments, it's not just about climax, it's about release, of tension, of loneliness, of the need to prove anything. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're simply being with yourself, and that is beautiful. It's also worth noting that pleasure doesn't have to be sexual to be intimate. Sometimes, it's running your hands through warm bathwater, feeling the softness of your skin, or wrapping yourself in a thick blanket with music playing in the background. These small acts of self-care, of touch, comfort, and presence can awaken your senses and remind you that your body is still capable of joy. And joy is something we all need more of, especially as we get older. Because let's face it, life throws a lot at us as the years go on. Friends passes, health shifts, and routines change. But through all of that, you still can give yourself something good. Something calming. Something deeply personal. Many people are hesitant to discuss this topic, even with their closest friends or doctors. But imagine how much easier it would be if we all agreed, this is normal. This is human. This is okay. And here's a thought worth holding on to: when you take care of your pleasure, you're taking care of your whole self. Studies show that regular self-touch can reduce anxiety, improve sleep, strengthen the immune system, and even relieve chronic pain. It's not just a physical act. It's a signal to your brain that says, I matter. I'm safe. I'm loved. That message, sent from your hands to your heart, is a powerful thing. And it's something you can give yourself, no matter your age, your relationship status, or your past experiences. So, if you're still wondering whether you should be doing this at your age, the answer is simple: if it feels right for you, then yes. Absolutely. This is your time. Your body. Your journey. You've earned the right to feel good without shame. And if this conversation has helped you feel seen, I hope you'll take a moment to share your thoughts below. There's power in knowing you're not alone, and there's healing in sharing your voice. Leave a comment, even if it's just a word or two. Or maybe just say, I'm here. And if this video has spoken to something inside you, something perhaps you didn't even know needed to be heard, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need it. You never know who's quietly searching for reassurance that they're not broken, not weird, not alone. Remember this: your story is still being written. Your body is still alive. And your right to pleasure, to peace, to presence, it never fades with time. It deepens. So here's to you. To your curiosity. To your courage. And to the beautiful truth that, yes, you can still love yourself fully, gently, and without apology, no matter your age. You've come this far, and if you're still with me, that means you're willing to have an honest, meaningful conversation with yourself. That's something many people never dare to do. You're already ahead just by choosing to listen, to reflect, and to show up for yourself. There's one more thing we haven't touched on yet, but it's essential. And that's the role of confidence and self-image. It's easy to feel like your body has betrayed you with age. Maybe you look in the mirror and don't see the same firmness, the same smoothness, or the same strength you once did. Wrinkles, gray hair, loose skin, they all feel like reminders that time is passing. And sometimes, that makes it harder to want to touch yourself, to explore, to feel attractive. You might wonder, why bother? But I'm here to remind you, your worth never shrank with your waistline or faded with your youth. You are not less than, you are more. More experienced. More compassionate. More in tune with what matters. And that includes your ability to feel joy and connection within your skin. You might not have the same body you had at 30, but you have a body that's lived. He has held babies, carried groceries, danced at weddings, walked through grief, and stayed standing. That body has earned your love, not because of the change but despite it. When you touch yourself now, it's not about reliving the past. It's about celebrating the present. You're saying, I'm still here. You're saying, I still count. You're saying, this body still belongs to me. And in a world that often treats older people like they're invisible, that's a powerful act of rebellion. So, what happens when you masturbate in old age? You take control of your well-being. You reconnect with your desires. You strengthen your sense of autonomy, self-trust, and peace. You remind yourself that your story didn't stop when the gray hairs came in. It just entered a new chapter, one where you no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You also improve your health in more ways than people expect. Those feel-good chemicals released during orgasm? They don't just make you feel happy, they can ease depression, reduce inflammation, and even support memory and brain health. That's right, something so simple, so natural, can help keep your mind sharp and your heart calm. And let's not forget the emotional benefits. It can be hard to ask for comfort when you're older. You might not want to burden anyone, or maybe you don't know who to turn to. But your own body is always available to you. When you self-soothe through touch, you're meeting yourself with care and compassion. You're telling your nervous system, you are not alone. You're also keeping your sensuality alive, which matters more than people think. Sensuality isn't just about sex, it's about feeling. The warmth of sunlight on your skin. The way your fingers move over soft fabric, the sound of a voice that makes you smile. Sensuality is what reminds us that we're not just surviving, we're experiencing. And when we permit ourselves to be sensual, we begin to heal old wounds. Maybe you were told growing up that pleasure was bad. Maybe someone made you feel dirty for having desires. Perhaps no one ever said, you're allowed to enjoy yourself. Well, I'm saying it now. You are allowed. You are allowed to feel good in your body. You are allowed to explore. You are allowed to rest your hands on your skin and say, thank you. You are allowed to want more from life even now. Especially now. This conversation doesn't end with this video. It's just the beginning. I hope that it opens a door for you, a quiet, private door where you feel safe to ask questions, to reflect, and to accept yourself more fully than ever before. And if you're someone who's never spoken about this, who's kept it secret or buried, it's never too late to let a little light in. Maybe that starts with a journal entry. Perhaps it begins with watching a video like this. Or maybe it starts with you simply saying out loud, I am still allowed to love my body. That small act of saying it, of believing it, even a little, is where healing begins. As we come to the close of this conversation, I would like to leave you with a few final thoughts. You are not broken. You are not weird. You are not alone. You are a whole human being with needs, emotions, and desires, and they didn't disappear when your hair turned gray or your body slowed down. They just became more real, more honest, and more meaningful. You are still allowed to take up space. To feel warmth. To chase peace. You are still allowed to be curious. To try new things. To laugh and cry and dream. You are still allowed to feel beautiful. To be soft. To be wild. To be exactly who you are right now. And if no one's told you lately, let me be the one to say it. You're doing just fine. You're allowed to feel proud of where you've come from and excited about where you're still going. If this message touched you, please share your experience in the comments. You never know who else you might help by simply saying, me too. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And if you want to see more videos that celebrate aging, health, and emotional honesty, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This space is here for you, and so am I. Here's to growing older, wiser, and more connected, with no shame, no silence, and no apologies. Here's to living your best life at any age.